Now, did you do an undergraduate degree before you started med school, or did you just go
Yes.
straight in? Okay,
I graduated from the California State University, Sacramento
there it is.
in
Okay,
2007. The
okay,
Hornets. So I graduated in 2000 with a degree in Bachelor of Science of Biology.
okay,
So from the College of Natural Science and Mathematics.
okay.
Mhm.
And now you said was Poland the first place after that, or was there another before that?
No, so I went to Sacramento State, and shout out
Mhm.
to Dr. Patrick Brown,
Mm.
who was the head at that time of the UC Berkeley Post-bac. So for students who maybe didn't achieve like they should have achieved and they want to improve their resume for any professional program.
Mhm.
And for those who are listening, the professional programs are MBA, Master of Divinity, law school, dental school, medical schools, which is different from research-based PhD programs like what you have.
Mhm.
One of the things that happens if a student wants to improve because as you know, medical school is very competitive.
Exactly.
So you would go to what is a post-bac program. So you take some more advanced courses to show a medical school admissions community that you are strong enough as a candidate to actually take on the first 2 years of the program. So that's what I did. I went to UC Berkeley and I was working at the time Verizon Wireless.
Mm.
And I've never told anybody. This is the first person I've ever told this before. So I was working there and I was driving from, I was working in a city called Folsom. And if you're from California, you heard of Folsom Prison, which is, it's in Sacramento County, but it's about 30 miles outside Sacramento. So I was working in Folsom and I would drive from Folsom, which is going towards Reno. If you know, if you go to the, if you understand how it works. So, Reno is the opposite way towards the Bay Area. So I would have to drive from work and then head towards the Bay sometimes to go catch the BART into. Sometimes the class would be in San Francisco. Sometimes it would be on University Avenue in Berkeley. It could be in Oakland. They had different satellite centers. So that's where I went. And I stayed there for 2.5 years in the program. And I always would thank Dr. Patrick Brown because he gave me a really pep talk. He says, well, if you want to come here, you're going to end up being the man. And he was right. That's really what took me to another level was that program. It changed a lot of my mindset because it was adverse. I had to still work and still complete that program.
Mhm.
So I'm very thankful for that. But then after that, I stayed out of school for another 2.5 years competitively. So
Okay.
I was working and things like that, and then so I decided to, at age 34,
Mm.
uh, to roll the dice. Right. So I
Okay.
bet on myself and came here at that time.
So this is a more of a two-part question then.
Mhm.
What would you say? Because it sounds like you were a non-traditional student. You
Yes,
work.
I was definitely not traditional. Yes.
So what would you say to a young brother right now who's not traditional and
Mhm.
who doesn't really kind of have any direction? What would you tell him as far as advising him on what his options could be? And the second question,
Mhm.
why medicine? So those are two questions. What would you
Mhm.
say to a non-traditional brother right now?
Well, what I would say to anybody who's a non-traditional student, which is, you're not coming out of high school, right? You maybe you're definitely older. So if you're a non-traditional student, I would want to know, like, number one, what do you want to be? What are you trying to get accomplished? That's, I mean, if you're 26, 30, something like that, if you're going to do the non-traditional pathway, then you need to know what you're trying to do and how to get the resources for you to achieve that. And whether that is, learning things outside the lecture, like, I learned a lot of stuff from, Move Biochemistry on YouTube and things like that. I learned a lot from just additional programs, how to prepare for things, reading in advance. You can get a lot of good tips from communities online that, let's say, when I was going to school in 2005, 2006, that wasn't available like it is now. Now you can learn literally how to read EKGs and things like that just by watching YouTube videos over and over. That wasn't available 15 years ago. So I would say, what do you want to do and what are your resources to get it achieved? Okay. And I would say that. But the second thing, or secondarily, what I would say is don't put so much of a time on yourself. If you're trying to do something that's really competitive, an example would be law or dentistry or engineering or just anything, whatever it could be whatever you want to do. Don't beat yourself down on it because you haven't achieved it now or you're too old. Because a lot of non-traditional students, could be psyched out because sometimes you might be in a classroom with a bunch of kids that's 20 and you're 30, right? Or you're 32 and they're 22. I wouldn't worry about that. Worry about doing what you're supposed to do, because that's the most psychological, I think, problem that many students have when you're doing stuff. There's a lady that graduated medical school here. She was 56, right? I thought I was going to be old at 34. She was coming into the program at 52, and she actually ended up matching. So I would say be focused on doing what you're supposed to do. Be focused on what your plan is. Be focused on getting the resources to achieve it. If you don't have it, then how can you get it? And putting yourself in the community of people who have done what you've done, right?